SR93 Boxing. I'm back with another video. I'll try to keep this video as short as possible because some of my recent videos are going really long. So yeah, if you're gonna turn pro anytime soon or later on, especially off our time. When I say our time, I say anywhere from here to maybe 10 years later on, because I like to give you some advice. Now, I have not turned pro. I'm not a professional boxer. I've never fought as a professional boxer. I'm not gonna give you advice in terms of technical aspects of being in the ring and things like that. Obviously, train hard, eat right, live a fighter's lifestyle. That's all I'm gonna say in that regard. But in terms of managing and choosing the right type of fights, let me give you some advice. We live in a society where if you look at society in general, for example, if a man hooks up with a lady, not necessarily hook up, just like met them or whatever, and they fucked, very often, not very often, but it's quite often than ever, for the guy to just dump her, pump dump. That's, I'm not saying women don't do it, but I'm giving an example of what our society is like, and this will be relevant to what I'm saying. This society has more fathers leaving when their women get pregnant than ever before, running away from responsibility. Just this society has more people, throwing away their electronic items, not because it doesn't work, it's because a new one is out. Whenever they get an iPhone something, next year they'll get the newer version of iPhone. It's pretty much the same thing, maybe a bit better here and there, but it's the same shit. So, with all that things in mind, people, the way people are, it doesn't just spill over their personal life, it spills over their interest in other things, such as boxing itself. When you see fighters and taking chances, fighting top good fighters, sometimes you will see a situation where they may not look as good. They may be looking good when they're fighting low-level oppositions, but they step up. Sometimes they may be looking really good. Sometimes they may be looking all right. Sometimes they may not be looking too good. Sometimes they may take a loss. Understand that winning and losing is part of the game for most people. Not everyone's Floyd Mayweather Jr., especially when you fight a top fighter. And, if I were to be a professional boxer, I know that if I fought shitty level fighters and I was a decent fighter, I would knock them out, probably beat them easily and whatnot. Be very easy for me. 100 of them, 100 knockouts. But understand that if I step up competition, it may not go well for me. And that's not just for me, that could be for anyone. I'm not discouraging you from fighting top level oppositions. But all I'm saying is, if you're going to fight top level oppositions on a consistent basis, understand that even if you don't lose, if you just look bad, or even you might end up with a controversial win or a loss, a close fight, people will shit on you. Just like a previous iPhone that they had, they're on to the new one. You're like the previous iPhone, they'll be on to the next fighter as their new iPhone. I'm just giving examples, it's true. What happens nowadays is it's all about hype. It was always about hype, but this is really about hype. They don't look at the technical aspects. They don't look at... Kell, Brook, for example, let's go into him, because that's the man's career that you really want to follow. That's the man's career that you really want to study what he did. Go in depth, not just box rec. Watch every single video you can find of him if you're going to be a professional boxer. Follow Kell Brook's path. Let's look at Danny Garcia, for example. Let's say you're on Danny Garcia's shoes. You have taken chances. Everyone fights low-level oppositions initially, but they step up. You fight Amir Khan, you beat Amir Khan, knock him out. When people say you couldn't, great. You went on to fight Eric Morales. Okay, cool. That's not an amazing fight, but that's a rematch, right? Then you went on to fight who? Zab Judah. Okay, it's a good fight. That's a good fight, right? You're fighting good fighters. That's great. You went on to fight Lucas Matisse. Again, you're taking chances. You're taking great chances, and this time you were successful. Then you think you're gonna fight. You take a slightly softer touch. It's still a guy who beat Provodnikov, Herrera, and you're gonna fight Herrera. But understand that Herrera's still been there with some good fighters. Alvarado, I believe, Mike Alvarado, Ruslan Provodnikov. So he's game. He's very game indeed. And you go to him. It was really a fight that most people thought you lost. Let's say you lost. That's part of the game, right? Sometimes it happens. But fans don't give a shit, man. Fans will not give a shit about what you did for them before. It's kind of like how they treat their parents. If most people treat their parents as such, where so many people leave their parents in their nursing homes and shit. If people can leave their parents and just forget about them, when their parents have done, or at least most people's parents have done so much for them. I know people whose mom and dad did a lot for them, a lot. They've been great parents, and they just sort of left them and forgot about them. And this is very common. That's how nursing homes are able to make a lot of money. If they can do that to their parents, don't ever assume that fans who've been dick riding you for a while, when you were beating top fighters, when you were like looking unstoppable, don't expect them to stay on your dick. They will hop right off, and they'll be on to the next. Understand that Danny Garcia fought Lamont Peterson, and he went for the same shit. Lamont Peterson's a good fighter, really good fighter. But understand that they will just shit on you, and they will just, it's the same shit, not just Danny Garcia. Because look, Danny Garcia gets a lot of cherries now. He gets a lot of hate, he gets a lot of cherries. Someone like Kell doesn't get a lot of cherries. He was undefeated at welterweight. He looks amazing, right? He looks amazing knocking out them bums, but people don't realize they're bums. Keith Thurman, same shit. He fought good fighters, not necessarily top, but he fought good fighters. He fought Carlos Quintana. He fought Diego Chavez. He fought Soto Carras. He fought Julio Diaz. He fought Robert Guerrero. He fought Luis Collazo. He fought Sean Porter. Good fighters, man. Sean Porter's the best fighter in my opinion. And then I would say second is Luis Collazo, a close second. But other than that, Julio Diaz, who's a decent fighter, but Diego Chavez is a good fighter. Now, some of these fighters have given you problems, like Luis Collazo. Shit happens. They're fighters, they're coming to win, they're good fighters. But now people are shitting on you. People were shitting on you when you came off the Luis Collazo performance. If you were fighting bums and you were knocking out them bums, they wouldn't talk shit about you. So understand that picking top fighters for most parts is actually not really a good idea. Same with Amir Khan. Look, Amir Khan again, he fought good fighters, top fighters. And next thing you know, again, at the age of 21, he fought Bredis Prescott, which was a stupid move. Meanwhile, Kell wasn't fighting Bredis Prescott or equivalent of his own weight division. Kell was fighting, bummy bums. And Bredis Prescott has 17 out of 19 knockouts at the time, and Khan got knocked out. Very stupidly indeed. I'm not going to make excuses for him. He got knocked the fuck out. But see, Kell didn't get knocked out. Obviously, it's because he fought bums. There's no way he's going to get knocked out. Kell didn't get knocked out. And people look at that. Instead of looking at who they fought, they look at what happened to you. The effect of your opponent on you. Kell didn't get knocked out. Therefore, Kell doesn't get shitted on. Kell never took chances in his career pretty much. He took few chances, bullshit chances really. I explained this on my video on why I believe those chances are bullshit that he took. But he goes on to keep fighting bums, keep knocking out them bums after bums after bums. And he doesn't knock out all of them bums. Because it's definitely not a 90+% knockout ratio, I think. It might be now, after you knocked out Frankie Gavin, Joe Jordan, and Kevin Bizier, and all the rest of the bums. But before, I remember, it was really similar to the Amir Khan's knockout ratio. Kell Brook, what's he done then? He fought Sean Porter. Great. You know what you should do is you should fight bums like Kell Brook. Just like bums, you should keep mentioning other people's name. It doesn't matter if they're in a different weight division though. Because people don't realize, people just think, oh, he's calling this guy out who might be in a different weight division, but still, he's calling him out. And if the other guy who's in a different weight division doesn't respond because he is even if he's fighting top level fighters while you're fighting guys that are not even in the top 50, then it still doesn't matter. You're calling him out, he's not fighting you. Therefore, people think he must be, like, that fighter must be ducking you. Talk shit about fighters that are bigger name than you. Why go through what they're going through? Just imagine if Amir Khan did not fight a top fighter, like did not fight a big puncher. Just imagine. Would he be knocked out? Would he be stopped? No. Imagine you were in Amir Khan's shoes and you could change what he's done in his career. What would you do? Make sure you don't fight Prescott, make sure you don't fight Garcia, make sure you don't fight who is it? Canelo. But because he fought Canelo, he fought Garcia and Prescott, he's been knocked out, and now people think he easily gets knocked out. The hype is gone. People think Amir Khan's irrelevant. But Kell Brook, who's never really done anything relevant in boxing, is somehow relevant. Understand and respect Kell Brook's game. Yeah. Respect his game. Kell Brook goes on to fight, he pretends to fight Diego Chavez, pulls out with an injury, pretends to fight all these fighters, and has problems. He shows problems. Just like, when you go to school, you go to college, you show, in school, you try to show that you got, like, you're ill and shit. He tries to show all kinds of excuses. You try to show that you're ill and shit for not coming to school or whatever. Kell Brook tries to show a whole bunch of excuses and make it believable. You'd be just fine. Just make sure, don't fight a top fighter. That's a big mistake you can make in your career. Right? If Kell Brook fought someone like a Danny Garcia, if he fought someone like Canelo, if he fought someone like Prescott in his own weight division at the age of 21 or thereabout, and if he gets knocked out, he might just get knocked out. And if he does get knocked out, understand that this hype would not be there anymore. Therefore, you must make sure that you don't fight top fighters consistently unless you're forced to do so. Like Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. If someone's going to be your mandatory, you got a title, understand that try not to fight him. Fight someone who, it doesn't matter if another person is more dangerous than your mandatory, just fight that dangerous guy. And when you fight them, say, yeah, I'm brave, I'm fighting this man. See, this is the baddest man on the planet, and I'm fighting him. See how brave I am? Lie to the public. Just lie. Don't fight top fighters. And then, hopefully, try get fight with these fighters that you deep down know that you don't deserve a payday, like, in this case, Kell Brook trying to get a fight with Amir Khan. See, Amir Khan and Kell Brook, if they meet, it's crazy because Amir Khan's done so much for boxing. I mean, it's not like a Floyd Mayweather or nothing, no way. But he's done more for boxing, way, way, way more than Kell Brook. And for him to wind up ending up fighting someone like a Kell Brook, it's disrespectful in the first place because Kell Brook hasn't done shit. He tries to not do anything. And if they end up fighting each other, it'd be like, what's the point of Amir Khan going through all those tough fights that he fought, giving the fans what they want, if they don't care and if they just want him to fight a guy who never did shit? See, what would you rather be? Would you rather be in Amir Khan's shoes, in this case, or Kell Brook's shoes? He went through all these tough fights, giving fans what they want, or would you just sort of fight bums, which are just easier targets, easier oppositions? You'd obviously do what Kell Brook done. Because at the end of the day, in this case, if you're able to get the fight, you'd still get the payday. And, you want the 50-50 split, right? Do what Kell Brook done, man. Honestly, try get the quarter fight. It's a big payday. You haven't paid your dues fighting anyone on a consistent basis. You have rare ones and live off those names. Live off Sean Porter. Kell Brook lived off Sean Porter, right? Live off like that. Don't do too much. Live off Golovkin like that. You try to avoid Errol Spence, right? Just try to live off, hey, look, how can I be afraid of Errol Spence when I fought Golovkin? Avoid Jesse Vargas. by saying you need to get paid more when you really know you don't deserve to get paid more. What have you done to get to be deserving of a bigger payday than 500,000? Live off the world title. Say I'm a world champion. Titles don't mean shit nowadays. I mean, it means something, but it's not all that much. Look at someone like a Amir Khan. Look at someone like a fucking Sean Porter and say they ain't shit. I'll look how we beat Sean Porter, but look at some other fighters and say they ain't shit. I'm a world champion. But yet, them not being world champion has fought more better fighters than you. But hey, don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. When you get a world title, pretend that you've done it the hard way. Lie to them. I'm undefeated. I've done it the hard way. Shit like that. Pretend. Floyd Mayweather has 49-0, right? At the time he had 47-0, and Kell Brook was saying shit like, I will surpass Floyd Mayweather's undefeated record when he just came off, I think, the Jojo Dan win. Interesting. Say shit like that. He will surpass Floyd Mayweather's undefeated record. Amazing. But I hope you understand. I hope you learn a lot from me. Don't do what Amir Khan did. Don't do what Danny Garcia did. Don't do what Keith Thurman did. Fight top fighters here and there, but overall, fight bums. Make sure those top fighters in your record are anomalies. I'm Mr. 93 Boxing. I'm out.